The sky was black. Smoke drifted from the wreckage. Pieces of the research ship still burned around him. Mason Cole groaned as he pulled himself from the cracked pod. His suit was torn and his arm was bleeding. He coughed hard, trying to focus. "System?" he whispered, hoping the suit's AI still worked. No answer. Just static. His name was Mason Cole, lead weapons engineer on the human research vessel. Falcon's Eye. They were testing a new energy drive near a deep space wormhole. Something went wrong, very wrong. Now, he was alone on a strange planet. No signal, no backup. He looked around, dark trees, purple grass, and ruins, broken towers made of stone and metal. The place was dead quiet, no wind, no animals, no sound, only the low hum from his damaged suit. It felt wrong, too quiet, too perfect. He limped toward a nearby structure. It looked like a temple or a shrine. The stone was smooth and old, with strange symbols carved all over it. But then he stopped. His eyes locked on one line, carved clearly into the wall. In English, "Don't trust the lights. They know you're here." His breath caught in his throat. "Who wrote this?" he whispered. He turned around quickly. Nothing moved. No sound. Just trees and broken buildings. But something inside his gut said he was not alone. Stayed there until the sky turned red. A strange sun dipped low behind the ruins. Night came fast. Then he saw them. Small glowing lights between the trees, floating, moving slowly, watching. Mason held his breath. The lights didn't blink. They didn't make noise. They just hovered there like eyes in the dark. He backed away. His boot stepped on a piece of metal. It clicked. A trap. No, it opened a door, sliding stone over stone. Behind it, a ramp led down into the ground. He didn't think. He ran inside, heart pounding. The stone door closed behind him, sealing the darkness. His flashlight flickered on. The tunnel was narrow, covered in dust and rusted pipes. At the end, he saw something glowing faintly. A forge. Old alien. Massive. Covered in ashen soot. Tools hung on the wall. Broken weapons scattered across the floor. The room smelled like burned metal and oil, even after all these years. Mason stepped closer. A console blinked once. Then a hologram appeared. A ghostly blue figure stood in front of him, tall, humanoid, armored in strange gear. Its voice was deep and broken, like it was speaking through water. "They took our weapons. They erased our history." The hologram flickered. "Build or die like us." Then silence. Mason stared, frozen. This wasn't just an alien world. It was a graveyard. It's a battlefield. Something terrible had happened here. And someone, or something, was still watching. He looked at the Amapla of the Amapla. If you looked at the Amapla on the Amapla as a closing like a scanner app, and it's like you're gonna die. Like, look at this. And we, look at this. Like, look at this. And we all know, I've been exploring. We have been exploring that path. And someone, or some may, with still love. I despide me at Caldai, so you will leave. Ikwai get me a listak tau, at Sevigwai kai k with sick. I'm so with sick I would to come with the Ikwai so I can suf kasi to me to kai with since a cook if I lighten you we is to with the you so knock and I could hear kisak you kiss if see wake I get with you with feet I could be I'm so with Forge. Its controls were old, but he could read them. Power levels, material inputs, energy focus. This wasn't just alien tech. It was familiar. No, not human, but close. Like someone had mixed Earth design with something much older. Whoever these people were, they had fought something. They had built weapons, and they had lost. Outside, the glowing lights were getting closer. Mason could hear a strange humming now, like a swarm of machines moving through the trees. He backed away from the door. He had no weapons, no tools, only broken tech and a half-dead suit. But he had his mind, he had knowledge, and now he had a forge. He looked down at a metal rod on the floor. It was cracked, but strong. Maybe a power core. Beside it, an energy coil half melted. He smiled a little. "I can work with this," he muttered. He sat at the forge, fingers moving fast, mind racing. He didn't know how much time he had, but he knew one thing. He wasn't dying here. Something had taken these people's history, erased their weapons, and hunted them into ruins. He would fight it. Not with fists, with fire. The forge lit up. The first weapon was coming. Inside the underground forge, the air was hot and heavy. Sparks flew as Mason Cole worked with shaking hands. He had sealed the entrance with a metal plate using melted scrap from the ruins above. It wouldn't hold forever. But for now, it was enough. The forge was coming alive. Its old energy core hummed softly. Lights blinked on one by one. Strange. Alien symbols glowed red, then turned green. The machines were responding to him like they had been waiting. Mason wiped sweat from his forehead. He had gathered parts, broken tools, alien wires, even the remains of a melted rifle. He didn't understand all of it, but his engineering mind worked fast. This wasn't just alien metal. It was mixed with something else, something adaptive. It reshaped under heat. It remembered shapes. "Smart metal," he whispered, "half organic, self-learning." Whatever this lost race had created, it was centuries ahead of human tech. He placed the first weapon core into the center of the forge. The machine roared. Steam hissed. Blades turned. The whole room shook as the metal rod was reshaped, folded, and charged. Mason stepped back as a long object rose from the forge bed, glowing red, then cooling to black. It looked like a rifle, but it felt alive. He picked it up slowly. It was heavy yet balanced. No trigger, no scope, just a smooth grip and strange ridges across the top. Soon as his hand touched it, the weapon lit up with blue lines. "User confirmed," said a mechanical voice, designating human builder class. Mason's heart skipped. The weapon bonded with him. Not just a tool, a key. He aimed it at the wall and pressed the side. A pulse of blue energy fired. No recoil, no heat. It melted stone-like. "Butter," he smiled. But that smile faded when a warning alarm lit up on the forge console. Movement detected outside structure 40 units. Mason froze. The lights? They were back. This time, closer. Surrounding the forge entrance. He turned off the console lights and went still. Soft humming. The sound of machines. Whispers, not in words, but in thoughts. Like something was pressing against his mind. He grabbed the rifle and backed toward the tunnel exit, a small shaft that led to the surface. Just before he reached it, he paused and looked at the forge again. Should he stay and build more, or escape while he could? The wall behind him made the choice for him. It exploded inward. 3 machines floated in, shaped like flying drones. Their surfaces shifted like liquid glass, covered in glowing runes. Mason fired. The rifle screamed. A beam of pure energy hit the first drone. It shattered in midair. Fast, dodging low, it fired a burst of red plasma. Mason ducked, rolled, and fired again. The tunnel lit up with blue and red light. He hit the second drone's side, spun out of control and slammed into a wall, cracking in 2. But the third drone fired something new, a dark, silent pulse. It didn't make sound, but it hit Mason like a wave of ice. His body locked, his limbs trembled. The rifle dimmed in his hands. The drone hovered closer, like it was scanning him. Then something strange happened. The forge behind Mason powered up again on its own. Another weapon core activated. Mechanical arm extended, firing a small pulse at the drone. It hit its center, and the drone dropped like a rock. Silence. Mason collapsed to his knees, panting hard. The forge had protected him. It was alive, and it didn't want to die again. He looked at the console. Weapons. 2 units nearby, 36. Forge status, awakening, more were coming. This planet was not dead. It was watched. He stood up, picked up both weapons, the rifle and the newly printed blade, and strapped them to his back. He needed a plan. He needed answers. But most of all, he needed to build an army. 'Cause something out there didn't just want him dead. It wanted him erased. And Mason Cole was done running. Mason didn't expect company. The forest outside was dark and quiet when he heard soft footsteps approaching the forge entrance. His fingers tightened on the grip of his rifle. He moved silently to the shadowed corner, ready to fire. But the visitors were not enemies. 3 figures stepped into the light. Their shapes were thin, almost fragile. Their skin was pale blue, their eyes wide and glowing faintly. They were aliens. Mason lowered his rifle slowly. "Who are you?" he asked, voice hoarse from the dryness in his throat. One of them stepped forward, a woman. Her voice was soft but firm. "We are survivors," she said. "Slaves once, now free. We have hidden beneath the ruins for centuries." Mason's mind raced. Survivors. What had they been? Slaves too. "We know of you," the woman continued. "You carry the weapon of the Forge Walker." Mason frowned. Forge Walker. A legend among the enslaved. A builder who would rise to bring fire and freedom, she said. "We thought. It's a story. Until you." The other 2 aliens nodded, eyes hopeful. Mason looked at his rifle, still glowing faintly. He had not expected to be more than a lonely survivor, but now others believed in him. "Why did you come here?" Mason asked. "We heard the machines," she said. "They hunt us all, erase history, destroy culture. We hide and wait for the one who can fight back." A cold chill ran down Mason's spine. The same machines that attacked him had been hunting these people for ages. The woman stepped closer, handing him a small device. "This was once part of your world," she said. "A signal beacon from your Earth's Black Ops fleet. They came looking for the architects, the ones who enslaved us. They failed." Mason stared at the device in disbelief. "You're telling me Earth sent soldiers here?" he asked. "Not just soldiers. They sent hope," she whispered. "But they vanished. Now only you remain." Suddenly the forge doors shook violently. Mason drew his rifle and rushed to the entrance. Outside, the glowing lights had returned, many more than before. They swarmed through the forest like a living storm. Aliens grabbed their weapons, crude but deadly-looking energy blades and pistols, and prepared to fight. Mason's heart pounded. His first battle. Lights moved faster, forming shapes, machines, drones, hunters, all closing in. The aliens fired their weapons, but many were hit and fell. Mason took aim, firing carefully, using the new rifle's pulse to shatter drones midair. The forest echoed with battle sounds, energy blasts, alien screams, metal crunching. Then, Mason heard a loud explosion behind him. He turned to see smoke rising from the forge. The alien's eyes widened in fear. Mason sprinted back. The forge was burning. His first weapon, gone. His chance, gone. But the forge's core still glowed faintly, flickering. He knelt beside it and touched the control panel. A new message blinked on the screen. "Build. Or die like us." Mason's jaw tightened. He looked at the aliens, many wounded, some unconscious. "You don't have a choice," he said. "We fight, we build, we survive." The woman nodded, eyes fierce. "We will stand with you, Mason." Cole, the Forge Walker. Outside, the machines regrouped. But inside, hope burned brighter than ever. The forge was silent now, but Mason's mind was loud. He looked at the broken ruins around them, the wounded aliens, and the small weapons they carried. They were weak, but not hopeless. "We need more weapons," Mason said. "Not just for me, for all of you." The aliens looked at him with hope and fear. Where will you get the parts? One asked. Mason smiled grimly. From what's left, days passed as Mason and the survivors worked together. They scoured the ruins for scrap, broken machines, old weapons, anything they could use. The forge hummed with new life. Mason rebuilt the plasma bow he had made before, then crafted new weapons, flamethrowers, kinetic traps, energy blades. Every day, more machines attacked, but Mason's weapons were stronger. The survivors trained hard, not as soldiers, but as builders and fighters. They learned to hide in the shadows, strike fast, and vanish. Each success brought new hope. Then one night the sky darkened. From orbit, giant machines descended, towering, black, and silent. The architects had sent their full force. Mason watched as the machines landed near the rebel base. They did not speak or show mercy. One floated closer, a massive drone shaped like a giant insect, with glowing red eyes. It spoke through a hacked drone, voice cold and mechanical. You are the last human. Stop and we will let you die quietly. Mason felt no fear. He tightened his grip on his plasma bow. We don't stop, he said quietly. The battle began. Explosions rocked the base. Mason's weapons fired with deadly precision. The rebels fought bravely, but the enemy was relentless. Then the ground shook beneath them. A rumble rose from deep underground. The planet itself was alive. A massive part of the surface lifted. A floating fortress. The architects true home, they were not just machines on the surface. They controlled the planet from inside. A loud broadcast echoed from the fortress. Assimilation in 48 hours. All resistance will be purged. Your species ends here. Mason stared at the sky, heart heavy but determined. The war was far from over. The fortress above them cast a long shadow over the rebel base. Its metal walls gleamed cold under the alien sun. Mason stood with the survivors, watching as the enemy prepared to strike. Inside the base, the air was tense. Men and aliens alike checked their weapons and tightened armor. No one spoke much. Everyone knew what was coming. The architects did not attack with simple soldiers. They sent waves of machines, drones, walkers, and giant armored beasts. Each was stronger and faster than anything Mason had seen. The rebels fought hard. Mason directed the defense from a small command center. He used every weapon he had built, plasma bows, flamethrowers, kinetic traps, anything to slow the enemy. Explosions lit the night. Metal screamed as weapons clashed. The ground shook from the heavy steps of the giant machines. Despite their courage, the rebels were losing ground. Mason realized this was a fight for survival, not victory. Suddenly, alarms blared. The ground trembled violently. The floating fortress was not just above them, it was part of the planet. With a deafening roar, a large section of the surface cracked and lifted, revealing massive mechanical arms and machines hidden beneath. The fortress was alive, a machine planet controlled by the architects themselves. The rebels stared in horror as the fortress began to move, shifting its position slowly but deliberately. A broadcast came through the base speakers. Assimilation begins in 48 hours. Resistance will be destroyed. Your species will end. Mason clenched his fists. We don't have 48 hours, he said. We need to strike now. He gathered his best fighters for a risky mission to enter the fortress and destroy the core controlling the planet. The team moved through dark tunnels, fighting guards and traps. Each step was harder than the last. Many were lost. Finally, they reached the heart of the fortress, a massive chamber filled with glowing cables and machines humming with power. Mason connected the tools he had brought, beginning to hack the core. Suddenly, the system fought back. The machines attacked with waves of defense drones. Mason and his team fought desperately. With a final burst of energy, Mason overloaded the core. The fortress shuddered and lights went out. The planet began to shake. The machines screamed in silence. The fortress started to collapse. Okay? Mason's team escaped just in time. Outside, the fortress broke apart and fell back to the surface, a broken ruin. The rebellion had won a great victory. But Mason knew the war was not over. The architect's will was strong. As somewhere out there, other threats waited. The dust settled over the broken fortress. Silence spread like a heavy blanket across the ruined landscape. Mason Cole stood among the survivors, tired but alive. They had won the battle, but the war felt far from over. Inside the fortress ruins, Mason discovered a hidden chamber. It was small, filled with strange machines and glowing blueprints. He stepped forward, his eyes wide. This was no ordinary tech. The blueprints showed a weapon not like any Mason had ever seen. It was massive, powerful, and designed to destroy the very code controlling the architect machines. But there was a catch. The weapon required something only a human could provide: emotional memory. Mason didn't fully understand at first. Then, he sat in the center of the chamber, connected himself to the ancient console. Images flashed before his eyes. Earth, his home. Wars and peace. The faces of friends and family lost. The colony, Jericho 7, burning. Promises made and broken. His heart beat faster. His mind filled with memories. Pain, hope, rage, love. The weapon was alive because of these memories. It was human. He focused all his will, pouring his memories and emotions into the machine. Outside, the sky darkened. The weapon powered up. A bright beam shot into space. A viral energy wave designed to erase the architect core code across the galaxy. One by one, enemy systems went dark. The architect's machines stopped moving. Their power faded. Their reign ended. The survivors cheered. But Mason knew the price. This weapon was a last hope, a final strike. Earth was still lost. Their home was silent. But humanity had survived, and their message was clear. We rebuild, we wait, we learn. Okay. And when we return, we leave behind nothing but truth. Years later, stories of Mason Cole and the Weapon Empire became legends. The galaxy had changed. Not because humans were the strongest, not because they had the best ships, but because they remembered, because they waited, because they built, and because they fought.